happened to those boards? Are they still there, or do we need to just recheck them and ensure that they come back to stream?
The one I remember very well is the marketing board for cocoa production, and it's not unlikely that was connected to the explosive growth of cocoa production in the western region of those days. I think this is still realistic in the geopolitical zones if the governors can come together, or government has a deliberate policy in this direction, saying for agriculture, for example, we'll mop up lots of young people who are interested in making something of their lives. You see, the reason they tout Nigeria as one of the emerging economic giants in the near future is because of the promise we hold based on our young population. We're largely a young population because our demographics, about 65% are constituted by people aged 18 to 35. And so we're largely young. But except we explore and exploit that potential, it's nothing. So for agriculture, that's possible. And lots of the state can mop up lots of young people who have no idea what to do with themselves when those opportunities are given. So one, research to make things happen, to create value. But more importantly, beyond creating the value, the uptake of that value in the marketplace is key. So if you're able to provide capacity, financial capacity, skills capacity, through the framework we're talking about here, then you create the uptake of these products. And that way, lots of young people have no fear of getting there. And government create the standards. That way, lots of young people get into agriculture. And the world over, the agricultural sector has a huge capacity to mop up lots of people who need to provide value. Another sector that's critical is the construction sector. And interestingly, we have a huge housing deficit. It's said to be about 17 million housing deficit in our country at the moment. That's huge. It can't be dealt with in a long time, except we start the journey. I've not started a practical journey yet. Yesterday I heard about 8 billion naira being raised for the mortgage refinancing company. Talking about the fact that, yes, they want us to go back to the dreams of our founding fathers who talked about the labor of our founding fathers, but the president spoke about one of those factors of production, arable land, and then water, forest, oil and gas, solid minerals, the other components that the president did highlight. But
yeah, he was talking about construction, you know, some of the ways that we can engage young people. But some people will say that some of these things that you talked about, agriculture, getting young people to come out and, you know, talk to government in terms of what it is that they can do, and government engaging them, as it were, will involve money from government. And resources are a little scarce, as it will seem. How do you think that government will pull this off? They're development partners that identify with nations that have a passion in a particular direction. I must say that there's funding available to help agricultural sector beyond the immediate resources of our country. I'm aware of that from our African emerging markets perspective. We're aware of that. But beyond that, we have Bank of Industry that has access to a few other funds from outside the country, and in addition to what is within the country. But they only support industry. I know that I've spoken to quite a number of people, and they'll tell you the Bank of Industry, they're very supportive, but only in the area of industry, in terms of bringing in machinery and, you know, other areas that have to do with manufacturing or some things related to manufacturing. You can't be going to Bank of Industry to collect money for construction, can you? No, I was only talking about agriculture relating to Bank of Industry, because I know they have CAP fund. But they do have Bank of Agriculture as well. Absolutely. That was part of what I was coming to, saying if we have Bank of Industry doing a fantastic job, government can enhance the capacity of that sector, helping the Bank of Agriculture to do the same, in which case there can be different segments to the entire industry, where Bank of Agriculture focuses on a certain aspect of it, and the Bank of Industry can take it to production and packaging. The other part, okay, let me let you conclude your thoughts on that before we flip on to the next one. Had you done with your thoughts on that? Yeah, basically agriculture, but she was talking about the housing thing. I thought we're getting there. When there's a challenge, it's always an opportunity to flip it around and take advantage of it to provide solutions and results. The housing thing is a huge problem to us, but again, is a huge capacity to mop up people. How should we approach it? Good. We have mortgage refinancing company that has just raised money yesterday, 8 billion naira in addition to what has set it up, to fund those people who need houses. But there's always two sides to a coin. And I wish to advise, for I believe those who need to know about it are listening, that the side of the demand is what has been funded or will be funded by the mortgage refinancing company.
but the supply side has to be funded as well. For example, my core area is working in that housing sector. You go to a bank, for example, and you have funds at the cost of 30%, apart from a few other charges, to go there and create houses. At the end of the day, you're about 32 or 33% negative before the business begins. By the time you mark that up and a little more, considering how capital intensive houses are, however small, it makes it quite expensive. But except those houses are even created in the first place, the demand that's been funded is not likely to be realized. You can only buy what exists. So I think mortgage refinancing company is excellent, but that has to be done. But in creating the houses, I think there has to be a deliberate policy thrust by government. If you look at Dubai, for example, they looked at the oil they had and they say, hey, let's do something about this oil because it won't always be there. And they created a massive tourism towards the country. But beyond the tourism, what they've combined with it is housing. And the monies they're using to create the Dubai we see is not particularly all of Dubai's money. It's money from you and I and from all over the world.
But they had to marry that with infrastructure.
That's exactly what I'm saying, that we can create a capacity to attract funding from outside by deliberate policy thrust.
Yeah. But incidentally, this is all of the time we have on the program today. Femi Afolabi is the...
off on the extra.
Oh yeah, there you go. He's of the African Emerging Markets Network. And thank you, Femi. And happy Independence Day to you too.
Happy Independence Day again. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you. We'll be back in a moment here though, so don't go away yet. Oh, okay. So it's actually... That's it. I did say that all the time. Well, yes, indeed, it was a special edition of Sunrise Daily today, Independence Day. We thank you all for your comments. We hope to see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Uso.
Well, thank you so much for watching. Happy Independence again. I'm Maukwe Ogun.
Well, many thanks and for watching. Don't forget, Independence has a whole lot of activities lined up for you, and the platform is today, isn't it?
It is.
We do hope that pretty soon all our platforms will be hooked onto the platform to bring you live coverage of events there from the platform. Happy Independence. I'm Sulaiman.